So what's something you've learned about how to do nominal group technique better over the years? So like maybe you did it a first time, learned some things, and then did it again and kind of tweaked your methodology a bit.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I have learned some things over the years. The first thing that I've learned is, as I mentioned already, I appreciate that it's a relatively simple and intuitive process. And I say lean into that. Like it's not calculus, right? It's we're trying to do something that is helpful and people can really grasp and without a lot of with no setup, frankly, and with just sort of logical and intuitive participation, help and get some clarity around an issue. So lean into the simplicity of it. That and along with that, be adaptable. I really It applies to all facilitation, I think, but I think it also applies to nominal group technique. I can't even so many times in my career, I've come into a group and I've thought I was going to go one way. And as it started to evolve, I realized I had to adapt on the fly and move a different way. Right. And it's like simple things of what's this final list of issues? How many do we want? Is it 7? Is it 5? Is it 3? How do you want to do your voting? I like to think about the fact that all individuals have their own dynamic, right? Their own personality. The same thing applies to groups. You get together a group of individuals who all have their individual personality. That group takes on its own unique personality. And as a facilitator using nominal group, you've got to also be thinking about what that group's personality is and then adapt to it so that you are actually adapting to their signals about how they want the process to work. I think that's been super important. And the last thing is, I think it's really critical that as the facilitator of the technique, you manage the conversation, manage it in the way that everybody has a voice, right? And so in nominal group technique, you start to explore ideas. And as you explore them, the individuals that are inclined to be verbal processors or those who tend to contribute easily can start to dominate the conversation unless you really are intentional about trying to give people space to speak, and not in a heavy-handed way, but in a gentle facilitative way. Make sure everybody has their voice. Those are my 3 big lessons, I would say.
Thank you. So related to the one about being adaptable, do you actually ask the group, like, how do you all want to do it? Do you want to have 5 or 3, or are you saying that you're kind of interpreting that as a facilitator on your own and being open to changing your own mental model of what you walked in with?
I always had come in with a plan, and then I almost always ask the group before I implement the plan. So yes, I do almost always ask, what would you prefer? Here's what I'm thinking. What would you prefer? I think that I don't know. I just think that's a nice approach for all facilitation, frankly, because I know it saved me. So what I'd say is what I've learned is it's not about the process, right? Like as soon as we start implementing a process and think it's about the process, I think we could lose our way because it's not about the process. It's about the outcome. And so as long as we can adapt to what the group is seeking and still get to an outcome, we should do that.
Thank you. And then also related to the methods of actually using this technique, you obviously know the context of extension. We've got a lot of people with a lot of different things that they've got to do, and evaluation is only one part. And so what's one way or any tips that you have to make nominal group technique doable and achievable for extension professionals?
Well, I can't say I could put my hands on it right now, but when I was doing this more frequently, when I was in an active educator role, I had like a half-page cheat sheet that I used myself and that I handed out to others of what here is the abbreviated step-by-step way to do this. And you can find, like, it wasn't like I did something novel, like they are out there, right? But I think it is appealing because it is not something that takes a tremendous amount of detail or preparation, which makes it very achievable, right? You can literally do like a half page. Here's the steps to go through, and getting some training around how to facilitate is of course helpful, but the process itself is not hard. It is achievable.